Hello and welcome back to GitGud EU Season GitGud NA. I apologize, Console Division Season 5. We apologize for the delay. We had some technical difficulty setting everything up. However, we are back now with the next matchup of the Leavers versus the Midnight Marauders. A very good matchup that I hope to be expecting here, Ocean. I will be in the very least a player broadcaster Belly, and as I just indeed mentioned, on the color seat, that will be Ocean joining me for this night.
Yeah, we have Leavers taking on Midnight Marauders, both of these teams with 1-1 records. And one thing that is just interesting to me is looking at the Leavers side of things and what they mentioned to us in like a little sheet they give us for a little bit of information on their team. A lot of their players are flex players that like to play a lot of different roles. So maybe a little bit of inconsistency there, but a lot of pop-up potential, a lot of flexibility in those players. But we go to Midnight Marauders, they like to play those more standard compositions. They have only 6 players on the roster. Each player has one specific role and they like to play a certain hero. So that's something that is exciting. And we are going to be going to the poll first, a map that both of these teams have announced they have favored in the past, and it will be the map we start on today.
Yes, both of these teams also with a win-loss record of 1-1, so that this should potentially be a fairly equal match. What I noticed at the very least is seeing the tank lineup of the Midnight Marauders with an Orisa and a Zarya. That is not very common and usually also not very synergized.
Yeah, usually Orisa Zarya, it's not a good tank combination because we were talking about this earlier on the earlier broadcast for PS4, as we saw a Sigma Zarya, which is the same sort of concept as you have that so much defensive utility that when you put a shield in front of a Rissa, that Rissa is not going to int forward. The Zarya is not going to be able to get that charge. And Zarya's main functionality is her damage. She's going to go up to 190 damage per second when she's fully charged up. If you can't get that particle barrier on the Orisa to get that charge, then you're not going to maximize Zarya's damage, and you're not going to get full value out of that Zarya pick. So maybe it's just a preference that the main tank likes to play Orisa, and we'll be seeing some double shield comps or some Zarya Ryan compositions, and it's just what the tank players prefer individually that they reported to us, but we'll see throughout the series.
We will see indeed, as we are currently on a bit of a pause screen. There's going to be a Sanctum, as indeed mentioned, on Nepal to start out. Midnight Marauders in red, Leavers in blue, and unfortunately we still don't have the information as we did not even get to the point for the hero select. However, the pause will be ending soon. But 3 maps, the Sanctum first. I mean, the Orisa can be fairly strong here with those boobs as well coming on through. The halt, obviously, for the Orisa. Some extra boobs to really make use of this death pit to the side of the point.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options on this point. You can run like a mass brawl composition with like a Ryan Zarya Lucio, but the more common thing is right now to see a double shield composition. You'll see your Orisa probably set up on the point, nice and bunkered, and on the side, on that top right high ground, where you can see hit scans dominate. You'll probably bring a Sigma up there to contest opposition hit scans and try and get as much space for your hit scan as possible to dominate the rest of the point and the rest of the space. That's usually how this map plays out. So Baptiste is a very popular pick. Mercy is a pretty popular pick to, of course, get damage boosts over to that hit scan. Baptiste is a really good bunker pick. And of course, we do have that hit scan coming out from center OW on the Ash.
Well, very interestingly, once again seeing some Bastion play coming out. Johnny Jaws here coming out on the Omnic. Midnight Marauders indeed with the double shield. Bastion has been set up, so that's going to be burning down through those shields very heftily. As indeed also a fairly recent buff to the Bastion for that spray reduction to come in through. Oliver J is gonna pick up the opening frag as the wheel drops, and with that pick, that is going to be a green light for the Midnight Marauders to start pushing in. None of the teams have picked this up yet. Johnny Jaws looks to go for a flank, looks to set up with once again this Bastion straight on point. Gonna be burning through the shield. A Brutality Field has gotten taken out, but you've got the Ashes right behind, and you cannot out heal that damage coming on in. The shotgun didn't actually get used on the Reinhardt to poop them off, but it looks like Midnight Marauders are going to be flipping this point early on.
Yeah, Midnight Marauders do win that fight, but not at the consequence of 20% or so going over to Levers. They play that fight nice and patiently. One thing I really didn't like about their play is they're playing a really bunkered style with a double shield, where that Sigma really should have enough utility to go on that left hand side, create space for that hit scan. And with that Mercy, oh, okay, the Sniper's just gonna kill everything anyway.
Not as Golden Boss does manage to get the spray out on the Zen to take the tire out. As counter, however, the Levers have already lost 2 players. They're going to be giving up a bit more percentage as well.
Yeah, they have the Bob online. They just used that other DPS ultimate. The ultimate advantage swinging in favor of Midnight Marauders as we see the Levers try and engage.
Gerald Weiser does manage to get back to their team. At the very least, something for the Hammond to be said. And Marauders taking a very good position here, being very safe as they do know the Reinhardt does need to get in. However, Mind now in the backline. Shatter comes on down. 2 picks in favor of the Lever. Both the DPS down as the Sigma is the next drop. The Bastion has been set up and Johnny Jaws is there for the cleanup. Nearly 60% for the Midnight Marauders, but the Levers are going to be flipping this one around.
Yeah, Midnight Marauders showing me a lot of promise just by their understanding of the game. They're playing this double shield composition. However, they are playing a very condensed double shield composition. And as I was alluding to earlier, that Sigma has a lot more utility. That Sigma can go and push anywhere around the map, give a lot more space for your hit scan, and then that Bastion wouldn't have been able to set up on that top left side ground. However, they let the Bastion set up, and they took full advantage.
Took entire full advantage. As the Levers are indeed now got good control on the point, but Ed Powell with a nice pick onto Jay. That is a whole chunk of healing now denied as the Moira drops. A solo Zen is going to have a rough time. It's also going to get taken out by the Junkrat in the back. The rest comes on through onto the Ash. Levers are forced to get out.
Ooh, lucky pick for Ed Powell against the Ash. And it's a little bit of a stagger for the side of Midnight Marauders, and then we are heading into last fight territory, and Ed Powell heading for the Riptire.
And for that Riptire, Johnny Jaws also has the tank mode at the ready for some potential damage output. Ed Powell indeed looking to get that Riptire against Johnny Jaws out of the tank mode. The Transcendence will not be enough to keep everyone alive through a Riptire. That is just too much damage coming on in as the rest of the members of the Midnight Marauders are starting to drop left, right and center. Overtime ticks down. And apologies, the members of the Levers dropping. Midnight Marauders are managing to pick up Sanctum here on the ball.
Yeah, we do see a really stable comp from the side of Midnight Marauders, and they are playing the comp position, as I said, very condensed before. But it just doesn't really look like Center OW has the space on the Ash that you really could give that Ash, especially when you're playing the same competition on Sanctum. On this map, it's a little bit different, because it is going to be brawly, it is going to be messy, you're going to want to be a little bit more condensed and control the point. So this time around, I would like to see them be able to more condensed, especially with the rest of Reinhardt. I do like the swap over to Lucio as well. That gives your Reinhardt a little bit more mobility, a lot more mobility, which allows so that Lucio can speed the Reinhardt around and get a lot of bot damage. But it looks like they're not going to listen to me in the end, and they're going to go over to the Baptiste.
And a lot of healing potential at the very least for the Midnight Marauders. Still a very bunker heavy type of play. However, the Levers with the teleport are gonna be setting up with a heavier bunker straight on point, and now it's up to the Midnight Marauders to take this fight. The Sinner though takes the Golden Boss out of this early pick. The Will is going to get the trade out onto the Baptiste. This means that the Levers are still very heavily set on point. There is a flank coming in from the Ash. Not managed to get a pick, but with the Immortality Field, it's a very aggressive push from Midnight Marauders to just force the Levers off the point and just walk them off.
Yeah, both of these teams not running a Lucio with their Reinhardts, which you can see midway through that fight, there was just a little bit of an awkward stalemate as we see Midnight Marauders pick up a couple of kills. Again, they give up a little bit of percentage in that first fight, but do win that first fight, and they are now able to control that space with this double shield composition, which it's really hard now for the side of Levers to push into.
This is never a fun point to push into when the enemy team has control. Now also set up with the Orisa, and the Reinhardt shield has already come down. The Junkrat is, or the Hanzo and the Symmetra are going to make short work of those Orisa shields, but you still have the Reinhardt to back it up. So Leavers are just trying to figure out how to approach this, having the ride out on the high ground now, forced to drop. Golden Boss will again drop early, and as both of the supports are down for the Leavers, and will be the Midnight Marauders still holding on strong.
Yeah, they hold on strong, really tight, and together double shield composition they are running. Again, I would like to see them split up again. Try and get a little bit more crossfire going. Try and pressure the opposition to making decisions. We talked about it earlier. The more decisions you force your opposition to make, the more mistakes they will make. They do have a nice ulti economy to Midnight Marauders. They had the ball with the supercharge, the Earth Shatter, and the Valkyrie online. And the Valkyrie and the supercharger will help that Riptire be online for the next fight. So, looking really difficult for Leavers to even get a foothold here as we head into last fight territory here in Nepal Village.
80% on the counter. Leavers are going to have to win this fight to be able to get a chance to bring Nepal back. Set up very heftily on the high ground, as you mentioned, indeed a fair amount of offenses coming through. It's going to be a bomb actually, along with the supercharger. The Phoenix Flux comes on in as well, but Immortality Field makes sure everyone stays alive. Bomb's going to pick up too, and that is the Leavers losing numbers, losing staying power, and losing time. Over time, it drops down, and that is the first map on Nepal going to the Midnight Marauders.
Yeah, Midnight Marauders have been extremely solid in this matchup so far, running a stable double shield composition, running it really tight. Again, I'm going to keep mentioning because I do want to see them split up, create a bit more space, because thinner W on Nash has been immense, and that's with limited space. Imagine what this Nash can do with the entire map for space if they're taking up a little bit more aggressive. Look for those off angles. That's something you might want to look at if you are Midnight Marauders. Leavers, they had some moments. They were able to get their Bastion set up on the high ground in one of the fights on Sanctum. I just feel like otherwise, apart from the first fight where they were able to control a little bit of space and make sure they get a little bit of percentage to get the first capture, there wasn't much promise shown from the side of Leavers. Some wackier compositions. The Moira Zen composition doesn't really make much sense. I feel like if you want to run Zenyatta, you have to run Baptiste or Brigitte, and we'll have to see if there's any more adaptations that come out from Leavers later on in the series.
That is absolutely going to be the question. As we have indeed had the first map going in favor of the Midnight Marauders, that means that the Leavers are going to be picking map 2 out. Going to be waiting out what they do actually want to be seeing. It's going to be Junkertown. We've seen it in the previous series. It's going to be the question whether it's going to be a similar type of speedrun that we've seen before.
Yeah, I don't really like this pick, though. I feel like you just kind of got outdone by the double shield and Midnight Marauders, and you're going to a very populated double shield map. And when you saw Sinner or the Ash do that with mediocre sightlines, what's Sinner going to do with these big, long, juicy sightlines that you see on Junkertown? I'm scared to think about what might happen here.
I mean, both of the teams have also noted down Junkertown as their favorite escort map, so I mean, it's also not that unusual. And the Leavers seeming to be also a team that favors the Bastion pick. So maybe just indeed having a plan of just pirate chipping their way through victory.
Yeah, I do like the idea. You know, they're comfortable in the Bastion, so go with the Bastion. However, when you're going against a very strong double shield team that showed pretty good promise in their rotations, a little bit of less promise in taking off angles and creating space. But when you're in this sort of level, just being able to understand how to stay stable, how to stay condensed, how to stay tight together, how to rotate, it's very important. I think that Bastion composition isn't going to really give them much of an edge in this matchup.
As always, the question is going to be the Leavers on defense first. So if they're going to be pulling out the Bastion, it's going to be very static and less set on the payload. And less copyright infringement on Disney's IP. Midnight Marauders indeed on the attack, and we're going to be waiting out what these teams are going to be picking as their flavor of choice for Junkertown for their respective attack and defense.
Yeah, well, we're waiting on these compositions to be finalized. We'll talk about the quick rules that we have over here at GitGud. If you win the previous map, you get to decide if you're attack or defend first on the next map. And if you lose the previous map, you get to pick the next map in the game type. So we follow control, escort, hybrid, and then assault, and then we go back to control if we need a tiebreaker. First to free over here at GitGud. And the composition on this offense is they decide to try and attack first and keep their momentum going. I like the Sombra pick. Try and hack the Bastion. Try and hack the tanks. Try and get the defensive utility away. Get those options away from the side of levers. And then you can get your Reinhardt and Orisa involved. And once Center OW has the space, Center OW will kill.
Well, it's definitely an interesting choice here is to put Johnny Jaws on the high ground without any shield coverage. Bastion definitely not going to get all of the value that you would be wanting to see for the mobile turret. As Sinner indeed gets the dynamite off and Johnny Jaws being forced back here. You also have the Reinhardt on the low ground from General Weiser, forced back already. However, as soon as this bunker starts setting up for the defense, that might be where the difficulty comes in for the Midnight Marauders to keep pushing in. But the payload still keeps pushing for, moving forward, Ocean.
Yeah, they do manage to pick off that Bastion. However, the downside is they are quite slow at building this EMP. But Nick gets a kill, and I feel like this is going right back in Midnight Marauders' favor.
Marauders still picking up these kills. Indeed, the res also comes on through. And with the Jaded next to drop, there's no real contesting power left. As it is just one Sigma versus the world, and the payload will keep on chugging along.
Yeah, not too much value for the Bastion. One thing I did like is the really quick adaptation that Midnight Marauders made. They came out on the Orisa Ryan, realized, oh crap, that's Bastion. They go over to the Sigma, which has a lot more defensive utility, which is going to keep the team alive a lot longer. You could turn that Bastion damage into shields and then play a little aggressive with it. I liked that pick. It's just a question of can they get their Sombra to build EMP a lot faster so they can set more win conditions for themselves. That's what we're kind of looking for them to do a little bit better on this second point to set a faster time.
I mean, at the moment, I do have to say, though, Ray actually picking up 2 kills here. But indeed, the Sombra from Ed Powell, not necessarily looking to get the kills or the fast EMP, but really being a bother here, forcing that spacing out. Ed Powell is gonna get make sure that Raze is gonna get taken out with that hack. Is also gonna pick up Johnny Jaws. So now as the reinforcements come in after those initial 2 picks from Ray, the DPS for the levers are down. So the Midnight Marauders are going to be pushing aggressively. A lot of ultimates right at the ready. That will be the EMP. That is 3 people hit. That is 2 people down. And as the third one also drops, the Midnight Marauders seeming to be just going on without stopping.
Yeah, EMP bomb combination will finish off the fight and likely finish off point B. However, this Junkrat team might not want to give it up, right? Going for a kill, getting stunned out by the accretion, but it will be to no avail. On point B will belong to the Midnight Marauders.
JC also dropping early here. So now once again in a 5v6 situation, even with this Bastion pick, his defense is having some trouble. A nice halt and a Gravitic Flux to come on through. Immortality Field comes down. But even that one will get taken out relatively quickly. It's gonna be an amplification matrix to just even have a chance trying to hold on, but this Bastion damage now coming on through that Baptiste ultimate will pump out so much damage. It's gonna be forcing out, or is gonna be pulling out the Shatter as well here from the defense. Gravitic Flux as well, as they're just trying to force the Midnight Marauders back in spawn. However, for what investment?
Yeah, both of their tank ultimates were used as well as the amplification matrix. So 3 ultimates for a fight win. Not the best value for the defense, but it does stop them at this corner, allows them to get their Bastion set up. So they're all positives for that defensive fight for the levers. And one thing I would like to touch on is that Gravitic Flux and whole combo looks really nice. It is a really nice combination, but I would like to see a little bit more. Maybe like use the Sombra utility, get the hack on the Baptiste. Firstly, Mortality Field can get out, and then maybe you win that fight. They're just off those that 1 ultimate plus a couple of cooldowns.
Ray with the turret to the side. Immortality Field drop early. That means that Nick is gonna get taken out with that damage, enough damage to be done to get a few picks off and force Midnight Marauders back.
Yeah, I like that one. Ultimate use for a quick fight win, a little bit of time off the clock. Great decision for the levers as they go back to the Rhino Racer competition. A little bit of a comfort pick for the Midnight Marauders. Let's see. Okay, Steiner going down there. That's not going to help them at all. A little bit more time off the clock as well. I want to see them use this Sombra utility a little bit more to try and utilize their living conditions. As
Midnight Marauders are grouping up to get their recontest. Yeah, and Powell needs to be able to really get out first to be able to even get to use that utility. Bob is coming in, as does Amplification Matrix, and with that, so much damage is gonna be taking out General Weiser as the hack comes in onto the Sigma. Beavers forced back, having lost one player, but Ed Powell also gonna get taken out. Res will come on through, so the EMP is back up. That could potentially be once again a fight when the Levers have a lot of tools at the ready to take this fight. Though Ray drops as the EMP comes through, that's gonna deny that Amplification Matrix and gives the green light for the Midnight Marauders to push on in. Golden Boss has already dropped down. The Sandbear, however, is now still gonna be up, so the Levers do still have some staying power. As Johnny Jaws pulls at the tank mode, General Weiser goes down. One of the shields gone for the Levers, and the res is there to bring Ed Powell back. The kills are still in favor of Midnight Marauders. They're still managing to pick up these final stragglers, as Ray has now swapped over to the Hanzo, trying to hold on to this point, but this Mora is unkillable, manages to stay alive on point, cannot get taken out, and the reinforcements come on through for the Levers.
Yeah, Ray is the hero of the hour for the side of Levers. Comes out, gets a couple kills, and they will hold at the end of Chugger Time Point C. However, next fight is going to be extremely difficult. They do have a couple of ultimates, but they're dealing with Supercharger. That ultimate had the highest fight team win percentage in Overwatch League last season, and paired with the Bob. Actually, not paired with the Bob, it's going to go wrong.
Well, the Sinner indeed not going to be able to pair with anything. The Levers also having 3 ultimates of their own kind of ready and set. Res comes on through on center and is immediately going to get that one back. Bob comes on through as well, as will the Supercharger. Levers forced back. There is a shadow for General Weiser, who has just lost shield and lost the rest of that health bar. Payload moves forward, cleanup in favor of Midnight Marauders, and the Dancing Dragons will come across the payload as at this point, honestly, a sort of celebration.
Yeah, Midnight Marauders looking extra dominant. They do get held up a little bit in point C, but I feel like they just failed to utilize the extra utility that Sombra has in the first fight, and then they struggled to push into the corner due to some good ultimate usage on the side of Levers. But I firmly felt they were sort of in control. They were running the more stable composition the entire map. So I do feel comfortable if you're Midnight Marauders, even though your timeout did get held up a little bit. Ray, though, does look pretty clean on the Junkrat and the Hanzo for the side of Levers. That's definitely something to look at as a positive light of hope if you're a Levers fan.
I mean, if we're going to be playing around this Bastion pick and the Midnight Marauders manage to push through that final point where the Bastion bunker can be so immensely strong, then indeed for the Levers it's potentially looking a bit rough. So it is their choice to attack now. Midnight Marauders once again going for a double shield, though this time pulling out the Reinhardt as opposed to the Sigma. Still though, the Junkrat and Ash coming on through for the DPS, and some speed boost and a Mercy. So not that much healing potential coming in.
No, I think they're going to go over to the Baptiste, make sure that they can power up a little bit. A little bit unsure with the Reinhardt pick. We already know that the Bastion's probably coming out, so that extra defensive utility that the Sigma has is definitely important. What I mean by defensive utility is things like a shield that Sigma has, and the kinetic grasp, which also absorbs a lot of damage. And Johnny Jaws on the Bastion, and he's setting up the choo-choo train.
Oh, Johnny Jaws dropping low, forced to take off of the payload. Apollo though is going to get taken out as well by a nice shot from the Widow of Ray. There's one DPS less, and that's a whole lot of chunk damage that you could use to really jump on this payload and take this Bastion out.
Yeah, the Arrested looking to get a hold to force the tank line of Midnight Marauders into the sight line of that Bastion, but they're going to go into themselves. They're going to aggress. They have the immortality field, so that they cannot die in this short spell of time, and they do manage to push the Bastion off of the cart and gain some space. Nicely played from the Midnight Marauders.
Ray does get taken out. That's some payback from Ed Powell, who's dropping low. So all that spam damage from the Bastion, but indeed that is a very nice place to get the Bastion off the point. However, Johnny Jaws looking to just get the flank in is indeed now to the side, is forced back once again. So now I've got this two-pronged attack that's going on, and not really enough resources to deal with it. General Weiser is going to drop Immortality Field, goes down as well. That's the message come on through. Damage has been done. The Midnight Marauders, hold on.
Yeah, and look at the ultimate time from Midnight Marauders. They'll have all 6 within the next fight. Getting a little pick is on the Johnny Jaws. And what I do like about this Leavers team is they do have an identity. They want to play crazy. They want to play around this Bastion competition. But playing into this Junker Ash, it's just not going to work. They're going to have to find something else, something innovative. And they're probably going to have to get off that Bastion pick to do so, right? Maybe looking to make a swap to try and help his fellow friend Bastion, right? We'll go over to the far to try and clear out this guy and maybe direct some of the attention away from his Bastion friend.
Oh, Ray's gonna get taken out, or Ray's gonna take out Sinner there. The bomb has already landed, so Golden Boss indeed is gonna get that trade-off. Ray's now in the background with the Pharah swap. The tower gets denied by the Fire Strike. Massive play for General Wiser. That could have been such a big turnaround. Shatter also gets dropped. The Batiste manages to stay alive, and Brutality Field comes down. And the Sinner picks up the kill on the Pharah, and the clock goes down to 1 minute and 40 seconds. The Midnight Marauders looking to clear this one on out. The Bastion is still on point. Both the Orisa Bastion dropping low. However, the Midnight Marauders losing numbers and losing players, and are gonna be forced to give up this point relatively soon. Tank mode comes in. There's still a stagger coming through from the red team, from the defensive team, but as these final few picks come in, that'll be the Midnight Marauders managing to get checkpoint A.
Yeah, what a massive fight for both teams. That was your map to win, your foothold to claim. If you were the side of Midnight Marauders, you had 5 ultimates available, and they didn't have much time on the side of Leavers. They do make a cool adaptation going to the forward, trying to get a little bit of attention off of Johnny Jaws, which allows Johnny Jaws to get set up on the payload. As you see now, set up on the payload, loads of shields, got lots of damage ready to go, but we'll see Ray on the far, on the front, 94% of that barrage, looking for those kills.
Payload is still moving forward. The Bastion is forced away again, and as JC once again drops early, the res will come through, but that does take her Mercy just for a second out of the fight. And it is Leavers getting forced back, having lost that one support for just a hot moment. And our Marauders had a very good setup, and the Leavers are having to figure out how to really break through this at the moment.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really crazy next fight with all the call.
I need healing.
Paul going for an aggressive riptire, but gets caught out. We'll see if that has any effect. As both these teams, a lot of ultimates to invest in the tank fight, Paul gets resurrected.
Ray has the barrage right at the ready, is looking to get some kills. Supercharger comes on down. This is going to be a dangerous point to put the barrage in. Ray dropping dangerously low. Shatter comes on through, drops a few players on the floor. The will is going to get taken out, as will the Supercharger, to lose all of that damage potential. It's Coalescence to just try and keep the team alive, try and keep the team in the fight. And Tine is gonna get taken out. The Immortality Field was not in a position to help there. And as the barrage comes on through, doesn't find anything. The Bob will be that extra player for the Midnight Marauders to hold on to this point, even as Johnny Jaws is trying to hide in the backline.
Yeah, it's just a massive fight again for both teams. There is a late resurrect coming in for the side of Leavers. It's not going to mean too much. In this next fight, it's really about the amplification matrix and the Riptire versus the Valkyrie and the configuration tank. Who gets the most value? As we see, right, go back over to that home drill that we saw. Got a couple of kills in the last round and kind of clutch up with them, but 1 minute 31 on the time bite. They've got to get something going here and fast.
Don't have that much time. They managed to clutch it out on the previous point, so there is still a chance to do this one as well. But if you lose one of your DPS already, that is a fair chunk of damage potential already denied. Leaver's gonna pop that tank mode from Johnny Jaws and pick up this initial kill, and now the Reptar comes on through, picks up 2. Ed Powell looking to clear this out with 4 kills in this fight, wanting to get that 5th, hunting down the enemy Junkrat's. Not gonna find it. It's gonna still play it safe.
Yeah, Ed Powell and the Junkrat finally has one of those aggressive flanks work out. Usually not ending too well for the Junkrat player on Marauders. Got picked up a couple of times, but no, heading into last fight territory. Bob, Supercharger, and Amplification Matrix, as well as the Valkyrie online for the defense, and nothing to work with for the offense. They can maybe build up a Coalescence, but one, they have to buy time, and then they have to get a perfect ultimate from the Mayor.
3 seconds to go. A halt pulls Ray in an unfavorable position, And with both of the DPS getting taken out, this is looking rough for the Levers. The rest comes on through, making this a 5v6 fight. But with the Bob, that's going to be a 7v5. Ray does not manage to get that pick there. He's going to take a shotgun to the face. And as the members of the Levers are dropping one by one, the Midnight Marauders are looking to clear this one out. Overtime Wick is going to start burning down. The Diva gets demeched, will still land on the payload, but gets taken out rather quickly, and the Midnight Marauders start picking up their second map.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to finish off this map. The Coalescence, it's all going to be in vain for the side of Levers. And one thing I really want to quickly touch on, maybe not the appropriate time to do so, but I really like Midnight Marauders' adaptation. They've decided that they're going to play a little bit more aggressive with their tank, like go for more aggressive holds, have the Reinhardt or Sigma, look at the all-flankers, and that gives Sinner so much space on the Ashe, and he's been doing a lot with that space on the Ashe, and I've been absolutely loving to see it. They've made adaptations, they've improved across the series. This is what we want to see from GitGud teams. It's the name of the tournament. You can improve by playing as a team and learning the game, and that's what we love to see here at the GitGud Championship.
We adore to see it, and the Midnight Marauders indeed now on a match point, as the third map is going to be a hybrid map, and if the team sheets are anything to go by, I expect to be seeing a King's Row coming on through once again. It is a Levers map choice, as you mentioned earlier, with the rule set for GitGud. And Johnny Jaws looking to just get this Bastion play in, but it's not really been finding them the value that they're looking for. The Marauders are looking to clear this one out 3-0 if they get the chance.
Yeah, Johnny Jaws, it seems like the team of Levers seem to think Bastion's really good at taking space. However, Bastion is really good at controlling space, controlling sightlines. So when they finally do get that Bastion on cart and they're kind of bunkered up, nothing's taking space. So that Bastion is controlling a little bit of space. However, Sinner's still free on the high ground. Edpaw's still free on the high ground to do whatever they want. So they need to send something else. Maybe the other DPS of Ray to go and control and take space. Could be another tank. You don't need to dedicate both the tank resources to that Bastion. Otherwise, you're dedicating a lot to something that might not get value. So maybe a little bit of a different approach to running this Bastion competition to keep their identity, but also take the game to Midnight Marauders would be nice to see from the Levers side. Just a little bit of change to try and fix this series up and adapt better.
And, I mean, it is, you're gonna have to change something up, and I'm not sure whether the Levers do want to. That is kind of the question, as we've seen before as well. I think last time with Hamill I also got to watch the Levers, and I'm pretty sure there was a lot of Bastion coming on through there as well from Johnny Jaws. So that is definitely a thing to keep in the back of your head. Midnight Marauders are going to be indeed going to, well, both of the teams going to King's Row. Midnight Marauders on attack first, the Levers in blue on defense, looking to clear this out. And the Bastion defense could prove a bit more difficult on King's Row when set up appropriately.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to go for that, just that basic Arista Sigma, or for the Ryan Sigma they were going with before. And we'll see what they decide out for. They're going to go for the Diva, which the Diva pick is going to be to try and nullify the Ashe Dynamite. That's going to be their main goal. And we're going to see again the Arista Reinhardt, which is been working well for the side of Midnight Marauders. However, it is a bit more potent, especially on King's Row with the Lucille. You can amp the Reinhardt around, getting right in the face of the opposition. That's kind of the goal of having that Reinhardt competition. You just want to swing your hammer. You want to get in the faces of the opposition, maximize the damage you can do, maximize the space you can make. It looks like we actually might be seeing a different look out of them. A little bit of a cheeky dive composition from the offense, potentially.
Potentially. I like this defensive setup, though. Like, this is now full-on pocketing a Bastion. Not necessarily just staying that behind the shield, but yeah, you get that extra backup there. Midnight Marauders indeed looking to get that dive going, still with the Junkrat. Also Tracer coming on through. This indeed could be a very interesting King's Row run here.
I really don't like the support composition on the side of Midnight Marauders. Lucio Mercy, one, isn't enough heals, and the Mercy isn't going to be really devoting any resources to anything here. You can't really poke out Tracer. You can maybe get a little bit of resources over the Junkrat, but it just seems like it's not going to work. They're now straight onto the Bastion here. Let's see if they can pick up that kill.
I mean, honestly, I'm liking this play though. It is unconventional, but they're distracting the bunker setup. The Bastion continuously forced to get away. Sinner with some great shots here. And this is gonna be a quick cleanup from the Midnight Marauders.
Yeah, they take that by just diving on the Bastion, and the rotation from the side of Levers was really poor. Realistically, when you see these teams that run Bastion, they're really slow with rotations, which means they can keep their Bastion alive, make sure that Bastion can get set up in turret form. But Johnny Jones just got isolated and killed immediately. And look, Paul hiding away from the Junkyard again as we see Sinner go for the stick, not quite getting too much volume. The Tracer there being a major hassle for the side of Levers.
Oh, that's also a Riptire getting denied. And that is not really what you want to see either, because that could have been a massive opening here for the offense. So the Midnight Marauders still moving on forward, payload going on in, but as the Doomfist comes on through, that's going to be Ed Powell getting taken out, and this is where this dive offense is going to start seeing some issues. Citadel managing to bring this one around. Mines in the back line, going to make it rough to try and get out. JC drops General Weiser as well, and the Midnight Marauders still going forward.
Yeah, Levers having a DC here. Quite ironic, the name Levers, and they have a lever. I will leave the joke there as is. And we kind of alluded to the support composition on Midnight Marauders. They're gonna have a lack of stability mid-fight, and that is where Levers have to punish them. They have to punish the lack of stability that the Midnight Marauders have. And if they don't do that, they're going to struggle a lot in this series. But if they can punish that, I mean, Midnight Marauders might be a little bit too selfish to swap off. They've definitely got a chance of taking this King's Row map.
They've got a very good chance of taking this King's Row map. And with, once again, a bit of an unconventional play, seeing this animal dive coming on through, this is an interesting play, to say the least. And seeing this get value, especially also on Streets phase, like getting that, catching the enemy team off guard on the capture point, on point A, like that is one thing, but then moving this along into Streets phase, where this dive definitely gets a lot more trouble to really get the value as it would on more open maps. It's very unconventional, but I do like seeing unconventional coming on out.
Yeah, it is exciting to see the odd unconventional comp, and it is really surprising because the main function of that dive composition is to contest high grounds, pressure, supports pressure, and force rotations and create space. But there's no high ground to contest, there's no high ground to do damage from. So it's definitely interesting to see how this dive composition is working, and it's definitely something you have to worry about if you're Levers. If you're struggling to deal with that dive composition, especially on a linear map, something you have to improve on and think about going into the restart.
Well, we are going to be waiting for the DC to come on back, or for FX to come on through. Until we do, we are going to take a short break. So grab a breather, grab a drink, grab a snack, and we'll be back with you shortly. Hello and welcome back to the game between the Levers and the Midnight Marauders here on King's Row. At the very least, you see us at the moment, not King's Row, and I'm pretty sure King's Row at the very least looks better to me. You've got a wonderful Pikachu suit on, so that is naturally a good sight to have on the screen. Me, however, I mean, this is obviously a strange thing. But King's Row is still on the map, the DC is back, so we are ready to head back into the map shortly. And Ocean, we've already talked about how this unconventional dive has really been working out here in King's Row for the Marauders.
Yeah, we've talked about how it's surprising it is working, considering the main focus of dive is to pressure high grounds and dive high grounds, and there is no high ground, especially on point B of King's Row, and that is a concern for Levers, who did just have a lever. Ironic comments aside. However, ultimates will be in their favour when they come back. They'll have a coalescence, a configuration tank, and an Earth Shatter to work with to try and contest the end of point B. The only real sad thing for that is the player that they lost will lose all their ultimate charge so far in this round.
That is indeed one to lose out on. Levers still going for that Bastion setup. As we head back into the game, we still have the mines around that Oliver J has put down. Lever still with a tank mode available, but forced to indeed pull back. Cannot take the full 6v6 just yet. The Willow is trying to get back. A nice quick pick from Sinner onto Ray, looking to also get that clear out onto the Bastion. The defense matrix right at the ready to keep that one alive. Now spots the Ana, does not hit the pulse bomb. Also doesn't really go for the cleanup on the Ana for those final few picks here. But that looks like it is enough space created to get a good fight on. The Shadow lands on payload, but there's nobody around to really help with this, as the turret comes through. Does get denied by the Bastion, but there's nobody to contest the payload, and that's a 5-minute time bank to push point C.
Yeah, they get the Riptire off, and it doesn't get anything, but it forces the side of Levers to go back so they can burst down the tire. However, it forces them to concede point B, which means to Midnight Marauders gain, they are now 2 points through King's Row with a massive time back. Not quite as big as the time back they saw earlier, but they have ultimates to work with as they head into the last corner of the map.
Oliver J just dropped into the pit and somehow got out, man. To get the mines and res comes through onto Nick. And as Johnny Jaws dropped, that is that whole chunk of damage now gone. Now comes on through on the Reinhardt, will not be able to give some pressure into the enemy team, but there's no targets around to really pressure out. And as the primal rage is coming in, the Reinhardt doesn't even get anywhere. Torbro now from Ray to try and get some contest going, manages to pick up a few, and as here the numbers for the Midnight Marauders are starting to go down, that is the Levers for now holding on to the payload.
Yeah, but the Riptire and Sound Barrier slowly coming online. These Midnight Marauders going to take a little break in the engagement. They'll come back in when they're ready to try and abuse that Bastion. Sitting at the back, Oliver J goes down, so they're going to have to take a mental reset, come back in a second, maybe make us forward over to the Diesel with Sigma to try and get a little bit more defensive utility for that Bastion.
There is a tire from Ed Powell right at the ready. Marauders looking to get some value here. Also Sandbear to really get some aggressive push going. But this turret is really being a pain here at this long range, being able to just kind of get that damage done and to just poke away the enemy on the high ground. As Nick is just going aggressive, Sandbear comes in just a tad too late, but it's going to allow for the rest to come in through. Tire in the back line, Johnny Jaws manages to trade it out as the bomb comes in with a double kill. And this is not what you want to see as the attacking team. Nano still gets put on top of this tank mode Bastion, so that is still a bit of an investment to go on their lane.
Yeah, Nano, but it's a little bit of a poor decision. We see Center make an adjustment over to the Horns, and I feel like now this type of composition, although you do have both your tank ultimates, you kind of have to get ultimate, especially for Lucio Mercy. You don't have enough sustainability for these two tanks, especially into this Bastion composition. Although they will have their 2 tank ultimates, and there's nothing really apart from the Rally or the Molten Core to stop them.
Every time that this push comes on through, Johnny Jaws manages to get the hamster out of the fight. And this is so much damage coming through from the Bastion that now for Levers is indeed looking like this is where the value comes on through. Setting this up with the crossfire on the turret as well is really putting a rough spot on Midnight Marauders, and as now I'm seeing some swaps coming on through. Nick going for the Reinhardt. Oliver also picks up the Arisa.
Yeah, the rally from JC, little bit late. They might have a little bit of that rally online for the next fight, a little bit of armor, not for long. I feel like they will have it. That Brigade armor still stacked up, but Riptire coming through from that pole, what will it do?
Oh, Golden Boss gets taken out. You lose on your Diva. That's a lot of pocketing that you now have denied as the rest comes in to Oliver. We see Ray ready with the Molten Core. Is going to be ready to put that all over the payload. Another nano tank mode coming on in. Only finds Ed Powell, but the Midnight Marauders once again forced back.
I have to wonder if they made the switch to this Arista Reinhardt composition. And yes, they've got the Lucio to navigate the Reinhardt around, but that Mercy is not going to be enough heals to keep that double shield composition up. They maybe have to go to a Lucio Baptiste comp or a Lucio Moira comp to even think about keeping these tanks up against this double shield. Or either that, Ed Paul or Sinner has to hit some serious shots with that mercy damage boost to get full value out of this mercy pick.
Marauders looking to retake this fight. Dragon comes on through. A lot of damage onto the tank line of the Levers. Golden Boss dropping. General Weiser just barely kept up as the Sound Barrier comes through. Multigore not really finding the value, but Ray does find that on just the normal damage. General Weiser putting the shatter down, but there's nobody to really follow up on it. As the tank drops, another tire will be coming on out. The Diva mech will get destroyed. Lucia will not be able to get the contest in. That is a very nice hold there. The Levers managing to get that massive 5-minute time bank down to 20 seconds. The Midnight Marauders get the full push.
Yeah, they finally kind of stop messing around on that Winston ball composition. Finally get over to that Orisa Reinhardt. They finally play to their strengths and their win conditions by using that Dragon Strike early on. Eventually they will get that point, but you have to feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity for Midnight Marauders. They could have definitely finished off this map with a lot higher time bank, and our Levers are right back in this map.
They still have a chance to clear this one out, and they have to if they want to get a chance to still manage to win this series. Midnight Marauders up 2 maps already. This is match point for the team in red, who are now gonna have to defend this whole push. Levers once more going for the Bastion play, I would assume, but Midnight Marauders double shield with the May, very much a strong contender to hold on to this point.
Yeah, they're running this May McCree. It's a very stable composition. I'm surprised they're not running the Sigma instead of the Reinhardt. I feel like if you are running the Reinhardt, again, you want that Lucy. I'll set it time and time again. You want to be able to navigate that Reinhardt across the map. And what this May pick does is it allows them to have basically an extra shield. It's not a big shield, and it doesn't take much help, but allows them to buy time, allows them to have extra options when they're dealing with this Bastion. So, nice option for the side of Midnight Marauders on the defense. And they also got Center OW on the McCree with that extra flashbang utility.
Midnight Marauders are going to have to navigate around that May wall, are indeed aware of the wall being available, so they're going to be going up to the high ground. That's a very early wall to just deny the push. Does not actually zone anyone off, so now the Levers can just start setting up on the high ground. And with that speed boost, are going to be able to rotate over to the next high ground.
I wonder if they're going to go for a cheeky hold to try and get something here. They're going to go for the wall, and I think they're going to throw the hold in afterwards. No, they're not. Orisa gets a little bit distracted there by some flankers on the side, and that Bastion is set up and ready to go.
Ray ready with the Widowmaker. The Midnight Marauders are just forced in this unfortunate position. The Diva coming in the backline as the May is actually trying to flank, but no, that's going to be a headshot from Ray, who spots that hero out. And as Johnny Jaws is just able to pump out this damage from the high ground, the Midnight Marauders not really in a position where they can really consistently hold this A point.
Yeah, it just seems like they kind of got caught out from multiple angles. I really like them setting that bash up on the high ground and then sending someone else to try and pressure the tank line. You saw that Oliver J got a little bit distracted on the wrist. They went into the hotel, and then realistically the chance to get that hold, to boot that Bastion competition off of the high ground to displace them was gone. That opportunity was gone. And from there they were able to win the fight, get the correct angles. And that was a really nice fight taken from Raiders.
Very good fight and a potential to indeed keep this payload rolling, though the Midnight Marauders have proven before that they can dislodge a Bastion composition off of a payload. There's a fight there between the Widowmaker and the Junkrat. Gets won by the Junkrat, and now the Johnny Jaws already being aware that there's potentially some grenades coming in from the backline high ground. That is 3 picks for the Midnight Marauders, who can now get a very nice early archway defensive setup.
Yeah, they just allow the Junkrat and the McCree to have as much space as they want. And the Diva, Ultimate's not doing as much as you want with that Diva's utility to try and stop and halt the enemy DPS's progress, try and nullify their damage, nullify their utility. Unable to do so on this occasion. Ultimate's available for both teams. This might be a very chaotic fight in this next section of King's Row.
Be the question. Sinner indeed is sneaking around.
Oh no, they
will it be at the angle? He's at the angle! Ray doesn't see it. That's going to be a high noon coming on in. Finds another. And once again, the Levers are just forced to get out.
Yeah, they use that Infocyte. I feel like when you have Infocyte, you're not kind of looking around for flankers, you're kind of wasting that ultimate. I think Infocyte is actually a really underrated ultimate. One of my favorite combos is actually Infocyte plus Riptire. You get as much information as possible, and you're able to pick a target, pick whatever target you like, and force that sort of kill. So I feel like minimal value out of the Infocyte there, as we see a couple of changes. Both support ultimates will be online next fight for the side of...
The hold? Oh, what? And Powell with a 6k. The hold was massive. He was sneaking around and the sneaky Junkrat. Yeah, do a dance. You've earned it.
What do I just witness?
Death. Honestly.
That's a very good answer.
That is... Oh my god. Well, Ray tried to bring this one back as Tina is getting it taken out early. So she's using Apathy, she's the Amplification Matrix and the Immortality Field. Indeed, as the levers are starting to push back in further, the Midnight Marauders forced back in these angles. Ray taking a bit of chunk damage, Payload still moving forward, and Ocean. There's still a lot of time burned off the clock here.
Yeah, and Paul goes down, so they will be able to get a little bit of space for this bash. And here comes the self-destruct. This might be potent here. Turn on the Immortality Field.
Now indeed the Midnight Marauders are forced to just pull back. It's gonna be Nick on the Reinhardt just going aggressive, just kind of hinting at this point to just get a second of contest and get a quicker regroup.
Yeah, they will be able to regroup, but yeah, I have to feel now. Midnight Marauders kind of messing around in the last round. They've let levers back into the series. Ultimate's outline for both teams. Kind of looking at that duel between Sinner and Ray. Who wins that McCree versus Forrest duel? Who gets better value out of the ultimate? That's what we're looking at.
Johnny Jaws manages to get on the high ground, gets the nano as well. Does not find the initial pick, finds the one there though, and has two members of the Midnight Marauders drop. Sinner trying to pull this one around. Payload is moving forward and getting ever so close to that golden capture box. Midnight Marauders have got a few ultimates, but somebody needs to be able to get the point. It's gonna be close. It's moving forward 4 meters. Nobody's on point. The contest is actually there. Barriers comes in on the side. A huge anti-nade. It's gonna be an amplification matrix from the spawn and the immortality field as well. Supercharger comes on down, as does the shield. Once more a tire right from spawn. Ed trying to just get the picks here, manages to get the D-Mech but no kills, as indeed it is stagger picks. The Hammer just trying to contest the payload. Midnight Marauders just burning time off the clock, but Johnny Jaws on the high ground. Too much damage, too much to deal with, and the levers are not out yet.
Yeah, they aren't. They use the Bastion competition really effectively here on King, so they managed to get the Bastion up to that high ground, and it was really difficult for the raid contest then to happen, because you're playing into a barrage from Ray, a Bastion on the high ground on King's Row. It's going to be really, really difficult to even come out and raid contest on point C for the side of Midnight Marauders, and you kind of have to feel they threw this game away when they were running that Winston Ball composition into the Bastion comp, wasted a lot of their time bank, and now they're behind and they have to put their foot right back on the gas if they want to win this series right here, right now.
This could be the turnaround where levers bring it on back. The Midnight Marauders cannot be sleeping on the levers. This is a match point for the team in red, who now have just the 1 minute to get this initial point. They had a very solid first point attack initially, so it is the question whether they'll be able to redo this, especially now as Ray is on the Farah and Johnny Jaws off the Bastion onto the Reaper.
Yeah, not the Bastion this time around. Maybe fearing that they're going to get split off of a little bit of a split push on the dive composition again. Maybe not what they're going for. We're going to see Lucio Baptiste. I like this. A little bit of a faster paced double shield composition. Sinner's gonna have a little bit more room to work with on this Widowmaker. Take the duel against Ray on the far.
Midnight Marauders have indeed got the task to get this push. And Powell already taking a chunk of damage. It is that Farah in the air, however, without the Mercy Pocket. Sinner's still in spawn. So you've lost one of your DPS at the moment. Still waiting for that one to come on out. The tanks and the shields taking a whole bunch of damage as Reaper from Ed Powell is trying to get into the backline. Sinner has now made it back to the rest of the team, Ash right at the ready, being able to get those dynamites on in. However, the Diva manages to get the eat for Golden Boss. Johnny Jaws at 1 HP manages to not get out. Both the Reapers have gotten taken down. Both not managing to get out, and the Midnight Marauders are now set on point. Nano comes on through. That is a massive anti and a shatter. Everyone on the floor. Numbers for the Midnight Marauders are dropping. They're gonna have to get a contest fight, and they only have a few members left. Application Matrix on the middle of the point. Sound Barrier as well is gonna be the Gravitic Flux. Everyone is up. Overtime is gonna be at the edge. One pick already gotten. JC is not gonna be able to get much extra done. The kill still in favor of Midnight Marauders. Just one Reinhardt on point, and the staggers here. Ray has got the barrage, but 30 health is gonna take that full HP. But Ocean, this is one hell of a fight.
Yeah, what hell of a match so far. Just look at that team now, and the silent scream on the side of Midnight Marauders just absolutely carry that fight for their team. On the Lucio Baptiste, building support ultimates rapidly. Oh, do they see the far behind him? Do they know he's there? Actually, they do know. Their Sigma's chasing after him. Their Sigma's on an off angle, looking for the Flora. You have to wonder about this approach here.
Oh, Nick is gonna get taken out. That is where the barriers come through. The Vest will come on in, but that doesn't seem like it's enough. The damage has been done. The Midnight Marauders are losing numbers. They managed to get that A push, but the overtime takes down, and the Levers clears it out.
They actually managed to make the hole before the archway, which means when you're attacking, you don't have to get through that archway, you just have to get to it. And that's a lot easier than getting through that archway of death through King's Row. A very, very tight choke, similar to the choke on Temple of Anubis Point A. You know the one I'm talking about on that right-hand side. Don't walk into there if you're in my game over playing against a Junkrat, please. So, yeah, difficult. They've made it difficult for themselves, Midnight Marauders, and they have to take advantage now. They have to get this full. They have to prove that they were the alpha team. They shouldn't have been messing around. They are the better team. And they're gonna give Johnny Jaws and Levers a little bit of taste of their own medicine, going with the passion comp of their own.
I like it, as well as Sinner on the Ash is gonna definitely give Ray a bit of trouble in disguise. King's Row not really considered usually as the most standard strong Pharah map, especially if you don't have the Mercy to back it up.
Yeah, however, Ray getting the better of these Pharah versus Hitscan duels. Sinner struggling to deal with Ray's Pharah, even on Junkertown, so definitely looking like Ray is a bit of that duel, and if it continues to go that way, we might have a couple more maps on our hands here.
We very well might. Marauders indeed set up. Levers coming out with the, at the very least, the Bastion. The Pharah still waiting around ever so slightly. Potentially waiting for, indeed, the scout from the team. Nope, that is going to be a push from the Levers on high ground. And the Pharah still available.
Yeah, using the natural cover to their advantage so they can get that Bastion set up. Now, they're going to have their attention with that Bastion. Ray's going to have enough space on the forward and do whatever he wants.
Is not even getting paid any attention to. Now indeed a few shots from Ray. The rotation is coming on in. And with Ray just in the back line, somebody has to turn around to really do something with this Pharah. And this crossfire is proving massive for the Midnight Marauders, giving up so much space for the Levers to just start walking in. Ray with 1 HP manages to get to a safe position. And Mortality Field has gotten taken out as the Midnight Marauders are trying to just hold him to the point. Johnny Jaws dies from the high ground, and as the 2-3 picks come on through, that will be one fight denied. 2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, so Golden Bolts, I like the idea. They have one thing that holds high ground above them, put pressure on the tank line. However, what you really needed there is resources to go into your Bastion, because as you saw, Edpol had more resources on the Bastion, won the Bastion duel, and now you're in a bit of a tricky situation if you're the side of Levers. They're kind of just waiting for a big ultimate, and you need to make sure you get one of those big ultimates. Just placement up the high ground with the concussive blast, trying to take the duel with Sinner with Ray. Always close to that barrage. We'll see if they can build it for the next fight.
Golden Boss with a huge opening pick onto Sinner, and as 2 members drop for the Midnight Marauders, this is starting to look a lot rough here for the defense. This is gonna be a very difficult hold to still get. Nick indeed managing to get 1 pick onto Ray, but as the bomb comes in the back, that's gonna be 1 pick for the bomb and 2 more for the rest of the Levers. This is looking like this will be a grab of point A. 60 seconds on the clock. It's a question whether a recontest is still going to be possible.
It's definitely possible if they can get their tanks ready to go. They have both of their tank ultimates and they're close to a bomb. However, they will have to do both support ultimates with the pro DPS ultimates on the side of Levers. 41 seconds on the clock. Can he even push past the archway and hold this choke? That's the big question. Last fight territory. This is what decides it here on King's Row.
30 seconds.
Eva is not gonna get it. It's gonna get demeched. I apologize. Bob comes on through. 20 seconds on the clock. One pick already gotten. That's gonna be a barrage, and along with that Bastion, that's a whole lot of damage. Shadow comes on through. Nano on the Bastion with the Sandbearer. That is a lot of health for all of the team of Levers. But Johnny Jaws with 4 kills, looking to turn this one around. Looking to get the 6K, trying to get that Mercy. Payload moves forward, overtime does not take down, and Levers pick up their first map.
So I just witnessed that. They just Nano the Bastion and he killed everything. Just sitting on the top of point. Nobody would pay no attention to him. And Levers take their first map in the series in their hyper game mode. It's 2-1, and this match is, well, just getting started apparently.
This match is indeed just getting started, which means we're gonna be heading into a new map soon, and the Levers indeed managing to pick one map back up. Midnight Marauders still on match point, but they have to clear out this final map to be able to get the victory.
Yeah, I'm not so sure on them kind of rotating their support line. I would like to see a little bit more of the Lucio compositions from them, but not with that Mercy. We'd like to see a little bit more of the Lucio bat from Midnight Marauders. Levers looking a little bit more comfortable in them. They're able to get their passion set up and get their resources ready to go. So definitely a little bit of improvement seen there from Levers, especially considering they had a 5v6 for part of that map. So very impressive for them to get back into this series. However, GitGud rules apply here. Midnight Marauders get the next map pick.
And that next map pick is going to be Temple of Anubis. We also see indeed a swap of the teams. So it's going to be the Midnight Marauders starting out on defense, and the Levers having to get their attack going here on Temple of Anubis. And once again, I'm wondering whether Johnny Jaws is going to stick with this Bastion pick.
I think so. On the defense, sure. Like, I mean, when you're on that defense, you can just set up a really powerful bunker. You maybe run Ray on the 4 or the Ash, and also Ray seemed pretty comfortable on the Widowmaker early on. So run Ray on whatever you kind of want. Force the side of Midnight Marauders to pay attention to that. Have Sinner try and take those jewels, and Sinner's been struggling in the jewels against Ray. And then you've kind of got to a situation of, well, you've taken one DPS out of it, and Johnny Jaws is on Bastion, so it's going to be really difficult for Midnight Marauders if they can force that situation out of them. So we'll see how Levers play this, but I'm actually unsure. I'm really excited to see how this one pans out.
It's gonna be a question what these teams will be doing as we wait indeed for the map to get loaded in. That should be happening shortly. The Marauders is still I mean, they're still definitely in this. They could still clear this out pretty heftily. It's gonna have to happen on Temple of Anubis if they want to clear it out now. Otherwise, as I'm pretty sure we've seen before as well, if you give the Levers an inch, they'll take a mile. And they might be running away with this if you give them the chance.
Yeah, and I mean, I like the decision from Levers to try and continue their momentum and attack first. However, I ultimately think it might be a bad one. And when you're defending first, you kind of set your own win conditions. And when your win condition is also to win the series, I feel like that's a little bit of a poor play from Levers to understand wanting to keep the momentum. But if Marauders get, for example, hold them on point B with a tick, then they know that's their win condition, and they know they can win this series if they hold ultimates. So that's sort of the game plan here for Marauders, and I think Levers have kind of missed a trick there when picking to attack first.
Well, Midnight Marauders indeed getting to go for the early hold. It's going to be up to them to decide what their setup is going to be to try and get their own victory, as the Levers are just in task to stay in this series.
Yeah, we'll see. If we could see Epol on the junk right here. We also could see that Bastion look out of the side of Midnight Marauders as well. Wouldn't be surprised we see another Bastion on Bastion. We've seen it plenty of times in PS4 console get good. We'll see it again, maybe. Nope, we're just going to see the traditional Orisa D.Va with the Ashe and the Junkrat. Just going to spam the choke as much as possible. And again, this Lucio Mercy support line, I'm not keen on this look inside of Midnight Marauders.
It's always a bit of an interesting pick, but Levers teasing Johnny Jaws not on a Bastion. It's going to be the Reaper coming on through. Midnight Marauders, as you indeed mentioned, that D.Va pick. It's interesting, though it also depends on what they're really expecting. I do like the Junkrat with the Ashe, though. That is something that I'm a fan of for this defense.
Yeah, they're just going to burst as much damage into that choke as possible. And D.Va is really nice on this map because she's really mobile. She can contest the point. She can contest high grounds. And there is a lot of high ground on this map. Very powerful D.Va map for sure. Maybe not as good as Sky Industries in the Assault format, but still good. And I think they're going to go for a 1 symmetric teleport under the bridge.
Indeed, and the teleport comes on through, so the Levers are already on point. Managed to also get that early pick onto Ed Powell. We have a trade though. The res is actually going to get attempted. Manages to come on through. Now as Ed Powell comes back in, that's so much damage is gonna be coming on out. Johnny Jaws trying to clear this one out, but no, the Junkrat mines and the Junkrat grenades are too much. However, we have a whole bunch of trades. It's going to be the question whether the Midnight Marauders will be able to get back in time to get a proper defense going again.
I don't think they will be. There was a very, very scrappy fight. Actually, they will. They got the late Tiger pick onto the Lucio. That's definitely gonna help them get everyone back and ready for the next fight. But a scrappy fight from them. A little bit of a poor rotation from Levers as they TP to the point that actually get forced back and hesitate a bit after they get halted. And they didn't really take advantage. Ed Powell gets picked off immediately. And during the res, Silent Scream goes down. So not enough defensive utility used on that Mercy to make sure that res goes also. Scrappy fight win for Marauders, but a fight win nonetheless.
Well, now you've got these teleport strategies, and indeed the teleport comes out on the high ground. So that is indeed going to be once more a push straight onto the point, but this time the rotation comes in earlier. The Batiste is a bit out of position. This is still going to get back to the team, and as Ray and General Weiser both drop, the Midnight Marauders are once again in favor in this fight. A bomb also comes on through to try and clear this one on out. That'll be the Marauders holding on to point A. 2 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, they are building up to the Graviton Surge and both support ultimates, but I feel like you're running a Symmetra pick, and yeah, they get off the Symmetra pick going to the Widowmaker. They kind of have to do that so that they can make sure they get Widowmaker ultimate before the end of the game. Of course, Widowmaker's ultimate, not so critical in winning fights, but is really useful for gathering information, so it's a lot better on the defense. But you're coming into a very prevalent ult economy that is the ult economy of Midnight Marauders. It's going to be very difficult, especially when you're losing your Widowmaker like that.
You don't want to be losing your sniper to try and contest both Sinner and Ed Powell that early on, and Ray is indeed once again going to swap over to the Pharah as Johnny Jaws is also on the Bastion. But the question is, how are you going to set this up if you're going to have to go through this choke first?
You can't get through the choke with this Bastion comp, especially when you're running that Ryan. Sorry, you don't have enough defensive utility, and the Bastion's too immobile. Maybe you can manage to amp speed the Bastion through, but then where's the Bastion gonna go? The Bastion's to walk under a bridge, has to walk up a high ground. I don't think they're gonna do anything with this Bastion. I feel like we just hit a brick wall for the side of Levers, and it's gonna look brutal for them now. Midnight Marauders in a really good spot.
Alright, dropping low, gets hit by that dynamite. There's going to be a rotation indeed through the side as the Levers want to set up. There's going to be a tire on the high ground, takes out the Pharah along with the Ana. And with the bomb in the back line, the Midnight Marauders are losing time and they're losing resources. The Levers are not finding any sort of point pressure at the moment.
Yeah, 2 DPS ultimates for a fight when it's last fight territory. Both put ultimates, a Graviton Surge and an Earth Shatter online for the offense, but they're pushing into 4 ultimates on defense themselves. Ray has to get a crucial hack in.
I mean, this is 2 more swaps here. The Bastion is off, the Pharah is off as well. With the Sandbearer only needing this to even get to the point. Ed Powell does get taken out. They do manage to get a second pick as well. The bomb is on point. The rest comes through onto Nick. As the supercharger is on the high ground, General Weiser drops after landing the shatter. There is no follow-up. Will there be enough for the Midnight Marauders to clear this one out? It will be, and they still manage to full hold point A, and this is looking rough for the Levers.
Yeah, the Levers struggling now. They didn't even manage to get that Graviton Surge off. They didn't get an ultimate from their Zarya player that entire round. Not a great look if you're Golden Boss on the side of Levers. However, if you're Midnight Marauders, you can rejoice in the fact that you know you cannot lose this map. Only need one tick of point A, so your win condition is set. They can just set up as many ultimates as they want and then go for a massive combo, and that can be it. Over.
You just need one fight win here to get one tick, and that is all that the Midnight Marauders need to win this series. This is match point, this is map point, this is all or nothing, and the worst they can do is get a draw.
Yeah. Difficult times if you are a Levers player or supporter. You're going to be running, surprise, the Bastion composition. They're just going to bunker up on this bridge. But it looks like we're going to see a double shield look with the Lucio again. So they're going to try and get themselves through the choke and get Edpo spamming at that composition. The problem is you've got a lot more spam to deal with on the other side.
A whole lot of spam to have to deal with. This defensive setup could still work, but you're gonna have to essentially play this flawlessly. And the Midnight Marauders looking to clear this out. See all the spam damage coming through. Gonna go for the right side attack. Sinner on the Tracer's actually gonna get that crossfire going. Already a bit of an awkward rotation here for the defense. Forced back to point. That is not where you want to be setting up as the defense with a Bastion. Marauders going for the high ground in Ocean. Lever's not really in that great of a spot at the moment.
Yeah, they already given up the bridge. They kind of gave up the space on the bridge so early, so easily. They were barely pressured. They gave up that space. At least they get through the rotation all right and don't lose any members, but difficult times for the Levers team.
Difficult times indeed. That is 1D mech already. A nice push onto the Diva. The Pulse Bomb in the backline takes out Sinner himself. That's one kill at least for the Pulse Bomb, though not the one that you are looking for. Pulse pulls everyone together. Immortality Field got taken out early. Johnny Jaws dropped with the Immortality Field down, and Ed Powell with 2 more kills. Midnight Marauders looking to clear this out. They just need the one tick. They just need the final kills, and those are there. The Midnight Marauders get the tick, get Temple of Anubis, and win this series.
Yeah, you have to feel Levers give up that bridge space too easily. They yielded under a little bit of pressure, and they lost the series here. They did manage to call their way back in King's Row and get a map off of Midnight Marauders. The Midnight Marauders firmly the better team today, and they will take the victory in the series 3-1.
They will take the victory very concisely, and that is going to be indeed it for GitGud. Well, this weekend. Usually there is one more game to go on Sunday. However, this weekend will not be the case for that. For any more GitGud stuff, we've got the playoffs coming up next week for PC. For console, that's going to be a bit later for everyone that is looking to get the console, and that is going to be later on the line, but that doesn't mean that there's any Overwatch to be waiting for. But that was one hell of a match between the Midnight Marauders and the Levers, and Levers managed to pick up a map, unfortunately did not get there in the end.
Yeah, not quite enough for Levers. They did show signs of what they are capable of. Some nice rotations and fancy plays on King's Row. Not enough to win the series. Marauders looked so much more consistent. They kind of dominated the rest of the series. Their other match was also kind of dominated by the side of Goose My SR. I still absolutely love that team name. And I'm unable to goose your SR. However, I think that ends us off so far here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for joining. Also, a few thanks to go around. Vinicius on the buttons as our producer, Bullskunk for the camera work, the amazing camera work that we got to witness tonight. Caps Lock for the moderation team at the moment, and also a special thanks to Savage Dad for coming out clutch here for us as well to get everything set up. Thank you so much for everyone to join us as well. Thank you to my amazing color caster for this night, as we are indeed still in the EU, so it is night. Technically it's morning. I can see the daylight coming on out.
Yeah,
indeed, my wonderful co-caster for the night, Ocean, on the color seat. I have been Belly. This was Get Good NA console season 5. For now, we will be back with you next week. We hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend, a lovely 4th of July, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.